Transform your life in just 90 days with this one Napoleon Hill habit. You don't need a miracle, a Harvard diploma, or $1 million inheritance to change your life. All you need is one habit. Just one. I discovered it by accident while reading a forgotten line in one of Napoleon Hill's old books. At first, I doubted. But in less than 90 days, I was no longer the same man. I was calmer, more confident, richer, not just in money, but in my mind. And today, I'm going to tell you exactly what that habit is, how it works, and why almost no one has the courage to apply it until the very end. So stay with me until the end. If you're over 20, feel like life isn't where it should be, and you want real change, this video is for you. But before we continue, make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, and comment below. What habits do you know you should develop but haven't had the courage to start yet? Napoleon Hill wasn't a millionaire. He didn't found a huge company. Yet he transformed more lives than almost any modern guru. Why? Because he had direct access to the minds of the most successful men in history: Andrew Carnegie, Henry Ford, Thomas Edison. Hill spent more than 20 years studying what these giants did differently, and what he delivered was something simple, direct, and powerful: a map, a mental manual for building wealth, purpose, and freedom. The name of the book, Think and Grow Rich. But here's what most people miss. Behind the entire philosophy lies a single starting point: one habit. A practice all of those men, without exception, shared. While most people chase hacks and complicated strategies, the true masters return to the basics. They build their lives on one habit, practiced well. Motivation fades, fatigue arrives, but the habit remains. And that changes everything, because habit turns desire into results, dreams into reality, and the ordinary man into an unstoppable man. Most people live as if they had unlimited time. They wake up tired. They hit snooze. They rush through the day, and then repeat. Years pass. Opportunities vanish. What's left is regret. Not because they lacked talent, but because they lacked habit. They lacked purpose. They lacked the courage to do what needed to be done daily, even without motivation. We live in a distracted world. Social media, endless shows, notifications. Everything is designed to steal your attention. And the more distracted you are, the further you drift from the life you want. Here's the trap. You feel busy all the time, but you're not moving forward. You start things, but never finish. You read a book here, watch a motivational video there, promise yourself you'll change on Monday, but Monday never comes. What you lack is clarity, direction, and discipline to stick to one habit long enough to change you from the inside out. Hill said indecision is the #1 enemy of success. Failure begins the moment you let routine define who you become. Failure isn't one event. It's the accumulation of small daily neglects. And success? The same, but in reverse. Small habits, small decisions, repeated consistently, especially on the worst days. Napoleon Hill interviewed the most powerful men of his time. And here's what he discovered. Every single one of them practiced the same daily habit. The habit of defining a clear purpose and repeating it out loud, with emotion and conviction. It sounds simple, even ridiculous. But that's where the power lies. Hill called it definiteness of purpose, and he said no success is possible without it. Most people wake up without knowing what they're building. No plan, no why. They live reacting instead of creating. But the men who created wealth and freedom started their day by reminding themselves who they were, what they wanted, and why they were doing it. Not just thinking about it, speaking it out loud, with energy, with truth. They repeated their goals, visualized the future, felt victory before it happened. When I first read this, I thought it was exaggerated, but I tried it anyway. I wrote my purpose with clarity, how much money I wanted, what I would do with it, who I needed to become. Then I read it every day, twice a day, out loud. Even when it felt silly, even when I was tired, even when it seemed pointless. But it was working. Slowly, my mind began to shift. I made better decisions, cut out the things that didn't help me, noticed opportunities I used to ignore, I wasn't just wishing, I was programming my mind to win. And this wasn't my invention. Hill documented it. Entrepreneurs used it. Elite athletes still use it. People who started from nothing and rose to the top all understood one truth. The mind needs direction, focus, and command. If you don't program your mind daily, the world will do it for you. And you'll end up living a life you never chose. This habit, simple, powerful, forgotten, is the starting point. Write your purpose in detail. Read it out loud morning and night. Feel it as if it's already real. Repeat it even when it feels pointless. Because that's where the magic happens. At first, it felt exciting. I woke up early, read my purpose, felt energized. But within weeks, reality hit. The motivation faded. The routine felt heavy. Old habits returned. And that's when the real battle began. The sabotaging mind doesn't scream. It whispers, "Skip today. This isn't working. You're wasting your time." And if you listen, you lose. Because that voice will win. And you'll return to who you've always been, full of good intentions but empty of action. I realized my greatest enemy wasn't outside. It was inside. The voice of laziness. The voice of comparison. Thoughts like, "He's ahead, and here I am with this silly paper." Maybe this isn't for me, but then I remembered Hill's words. Persistence is the magic ingredient that turns desire into gold. And I understood. It's not about being motivated. It's about being disciplined. Keeping the habit even on bad days, especially on bad days. I started identifying my saboteurs. Fear of ridicule, fear of failure. But I also learned something. Every fear has a root. And that root is almost always in the stories we tell ourselves. I'm not good enough. I started too late. My life is harder than theirs. Lies, stories that trap us. Only when I started answering those voices with my purpose, my daily affirmation, did they lose power. The mind believes what you repeat. If you repeat excuses, you live in mediocrity. If you repeat a clear purpose with emotion every single day, you reprogram your brain. It was on day 43. No fireworks, no divine signs, just a click inside. That morning, as I repeated my purpose, something shifted. For the first time, I wasn't just saying the words, I believed them. It felt like the man I wanted to be was already inside me. That same week, I closed a deal that had been stuck for months. An old contact offered a partnership that once seemed impossible. Coincidence? Maybe. But it happened because I started acting like the man I wanted to become. It all began with an invisible change, the daily repetition of a clear purpose with faith and persistence. That was the turning point. Not one big event, but a series of small victories. I began noticing patterns, saying no more easily, organizing my time, taking care of my health, speaking with confidence. Small things that once felt hard now flowed naturally. And when you change on the inside, the world responds. People notice. Results change. Relationships shift. The difference? One habit. One daily commitment that seemed too small to matter, but became the foundation of my new life. After 90 days, I wasn't just more disciplined. I was a different man. My work improved, but what shocked me most was the clarity. I knew what I wanted. I knew what I would no longer accept. I knew where I was going. And that clarity is priceless. I became more selective with people, firmer in my decisions, more direct in my conversations. The daily habit of repeating my purpose trained my mind to cut distractions. That freed energy for what truly mattered. Yes, I also made more money. Because a focused mind creates solutions. When you know where you're going, your time has value. The 90 days taught me what no university ever did. Winners aren't the most talented, they're the most consistent. The ones who endure boredom. The ones who do the simple things daily, without applause. Hill said, "You will become what you think about all day long." And for 90 days, I thought about my purpose, my new identity, my new self. And I became exactly that. People asked me, "What happened to you?" And I smiled, because they only saw the results. The real work was invisible, done in silence, alone, repeating words, believing, even when there was no proof it was working. Here's what nobody tells you. Change is uncomfortable, it's lonely, and at first, it feels useless. But if you have the courage to sustain one simple habit for 90 days, you'll prove to yourself you can change anything. Napoleon Hill's habit isn't magical, it isn't easy, but it is real. It demands commitment, that you look in the mirror and say, I deserve more. And then that you do what's necessary every single day, even when nobody's watching. Especially then. If I could go back, I would have started earlier, stopped chasing shortcuts, accepted that freedom doesn't come from speed, it comes from consistency. So don't wait, start today. Take a piece of paper, write your purpose, read it out loud with conviction twice a day, and keep going for 90 days. And when you finish, come back and tell me in the comments what changed. Because I know something will. If this video gave you the push you needed, share it, like it, and subscribe to the channel. And remember, the world doesn't need more motivated people. It needs more decided people.